Thank you, Dallas. Welcome to Unity of Tacoma. We're an online spiritual community with a physical presence here in Tacoma. If you're joining us online, if you're seeing us on video after the fact, welcome to join us here at our location on South 74th Street in Tacoma. Well, we're glad you have chosen to spend this time with us. A young man named Pick lived millions of years ago. That may not have been his real name, probably wasn't. I'm just weaving a mythology here. Pick was telling his story at the campfire. And as he tells his story, he's releasing the energy around the events that he's relating. You ever had that experience? You tell your story and you release the energy. We have to be able to do that. And through his story, he was introducing himself to anyone who was new at the fire. Well, what do we do when we tell our story of our week or the story of our day? These are human practices since before history, and we are evolved to tell these stories. Somehow we evolved speech, and I'll talk about a little bit more about that later in the series. But as part of that, we developed the practice of storytelling. It's part of who we are, because this is what humans do. The first most creative power that we have using our faculty of our words, the faculty of power, the faculty of responsibility, one of the first things we do is create meaning. Something happens, it means nothing. We invent a story, and now we understand what it means. We give meaning to life this way. You, me, everyone. We create meaning through our words. We create connection through our words. Sometimes we create separation through our words. Don't bother me again. That kind of thing. A meaning matches a word the way a flu virus matches human DNA. The human cold virus connects with, has open slots where the human DNA doesn't, and has filled slots where the human DNA does, and it just clicks right together. And a meaning matches a word just like that. For politicians, we're going into a political cycle. It matters to be choosing the right word. The right words can help us shift responsibility if we don't want to take responsibility. The right words can help us claim responsibility and take responsibility. And if we're going to create powerfully in this world, we're going to do so responsibly. The symbol that I chose to illustrate this faculty, this creative power and the responsibility that goes with it, the symbol in nature that I chose was the butterfly. Any fans of the rock group Heart here? When I lived in Austin in the late 70s, I was single and I was a single father, but my son was at his mom's for the weekend. He usually was on the weekend. So on a Saturday night, I was out at a nightclub that was just like a mile from my house. It was one of the burgeoning parts of the music scene of Austin at the time. And so I went. There was no band that night. It was like a Thursday or a Friday night, but there was no band, and they were playing. They were playing good records, though. There was a DJ playing, and it was good music, and it was a good time. And then got to be a commotion up on the stage, because it was also a live music venue. And they were hauling in instruments, so there hadn't been anyone scheduled to play. Heart had played a concert in Austin that night, and they wanted to blow off a little steam. Yeah. And they came in and played this little nightclub. It was a very awesome experience. Wow. I wish I could remember more of it. The butterfly.
Oh, yeah.
The butterfly is in a song that they sing, The Dog and Butterfly.
Yeah.
The butterfly is symbolic of transformation. In Irish legends, the butterfly is related to the soul of a human being. So if I'm outside and I'm attracted to a butterfly, and the butterfly comes sits with me, this is my relation. It's related to my soul. We have a soul connection. Aristotle in the Greek tradition called the butterfly psyche, which means soul. There's a famous Roman statue where a butterfly is flying from the mouth of a dead man. That's the symbolism of the soul leaving the body at the end. And the butterfly has been used to represent the human soul and to represent transformation for millennia. We all create transformation. We all crave transformation. And we all want to soar. And the butterfly is symbolic of all of that. Now, what does a butterfly really create? Itself. That's all it really creates. The caterpillar goes into the cocoon, weaves the cocoon, and the butterfly comes out. That's the greatest act of creation available to the butterfly, but it's not the greatest act of creating available to us. Our tools are not the cocoon. Our tools are the words, our words we use, and our creative power that follow those words, and our alignment of our thoughts and actions with those words. That's why I refer to words as the creative power. Words are the tools. They're not the power itself. Aligning with the words is powerful. Keeping your word is powerful. Are you about creating relationships? What happens in a relationship when the person you're in a relationship isn't keeping their word? What happens in a relationship when you're not keeping your word? We assign great power to words, especially to written words. Our signature. When we sign something in agreement, we're saying, I give my word to be responsible for this. Buying a car, getting a driver's license, whatever it is. Yeah. Now, there's a little bit of silliness around the signature, because somehow if I print my name, it doesn't have the magic. If I make those letters go, ooh, somehow that has magic. That's the way it is. But that's because we have an agreement. And we made those agreements through our words, that our signature is going to be what signifies the responsibility. It's those words. And all the words that come before, I'm taking those words and I'm making them part of my personal power. We do that to get our driver's license, and we go out there and speed. I do. But that's how we treat our words sometimes. You create yourself through your creative power. I will quit smoking. I will lose weight. I will have a better lifestyle. I will. Whatever it is. When we make those declarations to others, we're inviting them to check on us and to be part of our transformation. The human story is the basic building block of human understanding. It's our way of helping others understand us, and it's our way of feeling like we are understood. So we tell someone a story to illustrate an idea, and it's no longer a vague idea. It becomes more like the real thing. A story, though, is made up of symbols. Every letter of the alphabet is a symbol for a sound. Every word is a symbol for a combination of sounds. And as we tell a story, the sentences and the paragraphs, the elements of the story get created and get woven in. Now, when I was telling stories and I'm trying to interpret what the stories mean, I use something called Occam's razor. Do you know what that phrase, Occam's razor? Occam's razor is it's an element in philosophy and in science that it's a tool of those that says that the simplest answer is most often the real answer. It's a great tool for distinguishing reality from mythology, because the reality out in our life doesn't always match the story we've told ourselves about life. We've woven a mythology. Reality is different, and it can be a great disappointment. That's what can be the result. The universe is wrong. Well, guess what? The universe is always right. The universe is always on track, and we're not always in alignment. The universe is not wrong because it doesn't match your fantasy. That's the reality of power. Here's my statement on mythology versus reality. If the laws of nature must be suspended or broken for a story to be true, then it's mythology.
Mm-hmm.
There's a story in the Old Testament, there's a story in the New Testament, there's a story in the Buddhist text, there's a story in the Vedic text, these stories. If the laws of nature, the laws of science have to be broken for the story to be true, then it's probably not true. That's my Occam's razor. That's not easy for everyone, but that's where I leave it. Speaking words that are not true, and then needing to believe them and needing others to believe them, twists the soul. A white lie is a necessary tool sometimes, but often it's just an excuse when the truth is difficult. When something it's telling the truth is going to hurt someone and it's not going to do anything good, why would you say them? That's where the white lie comes in. We have a dog. It lives at our house. Cass is an Australian shepherd. Now, I'm allergic to dogs, but he and I are buddies. And I'm part of his pack, and we hang out together. Cass likes to chase birds, and he likes to chase butterflies. We get the white, medium-sized ones right now. They just float through two at a time, just kind of dancing through the yard, and he'll start chasing them. Well, that song, Dog and Butterfly, has the phrase, up in the air he likes to fly, below she had to try. Well, Cass does try to fly. He tried to fly yesterday. We had a squirrel in our black cherry tree, and he tried to get up there to the limbs to get it. Music like that, Dog and Butterfly, up in the air he likes to fly, below she had to try. It tells the truth of our being, even though we're not the dog and we're not the butterfly. It's really about us. The need to fly, the need to be grounded on the earth. Music has great transformational power. The music, the song gives the words extra punch in our lives, and that's always been that way, it seems. The ABC song is very, very popular around my house right now. There's a 2.5-year-old and a 1.5-year-old, and they sing the ABC song, and there's a reason that they do that and that they learn that way. We are evolved to enjoy music, but also to learn from it, it seems, because it's the most natural way we learn at that age. Every human society has created music, but so there must be some evolutionary advantage to it. And I wish I could identify what that is. I do have some ideas, but this is not the time to get in them and to get to them. There's a story, a legend among the Tohono O'odham people of northern Mexico and southern Arizona. One day the Creator was resting, sitting and watching some children at play in a village. The children laughed and sang, yet as he watched them, the Creator's heart was sad. He was thinking, these children will grow old. Their skin will become wrinkled. Their hair will turn gray. Their teeth will fall out. The young hunter's arm will fail. These lovely young girls will grow ugly and fat. The playful puppies will become blind, mangy dogs. And those wonderful flowers, yellow and blue, red and purple, will fade. The leaves from the trees will fall and dry up. Already they are turning yellow. Thus the Creator grew sadder and sadder. It was in the fall, and the thought of the coming winter with its cold, its lack of game and green things, made his heart heavy. Yet it was still warm, and the sun was shining. The Creator watched the play of sunlight and shadow on the ground. The yellow leaves were being carried here and there by the wind. He saw the blueness of the sky, the whiteness of the cornmeal being ground by the women. Suddenly he smiled. All these colors, they ought to be preserved. I'll make something to gladden my heart, something for these children to look at and enjoy. The Creator took out his bag and started gathering things. A spot of sunlight, a handful of blue from the sky, the whiteness of the cornmeal, the shadow of playing children, the blackness of a beautiful girl's hair, the yellow of the falling leaves, the green of the pine needles, the red, purple, and orange of the flowers around him. All these things he put into his bag. And as an afterthought, he put the songs of the birds in the bag too. Then he walked over to the grassy spot where the children were playing. Children, little children, this is for you. And he gave them his bag. Open it. There's something nice inside, he told them. The children opened the bag, and at once hundreds and hundreds of colored butterflies flew out, dancing around the children's heads, settling on their hair, fluttering up again to sip from this or that flower. And the children, enchanted, said that they had never seen anything so beautiful. The butterflies began to sing, and the children listened, smiling. But then a songbird came flying, settled on the Creator's shoulder, and scolded the Creator, saying, "It's not right to give our songs to these new pretty things. You told us when you made us that every bird would have his own song, and now you've passed them all around. Isn't it enough that you gave your new playthings the colors of the rainbow?" "You're right," said the Creator. "I made one song for each bird, and I shouldn't have taken what belongs to you." He's acting responsibly. So the Creator took the songs away from the butterflies, and he realized they're more beautiful because of their silence. They're more beautiful because they don't sing. They're beautiful even so, he said. There are misconceptions about our creative power, that we can access something akin to magic words. It's what I call magic thinking. What we are here to create is consciousness. And that gets created through the power of our word. What we are here to create is our consciousness, and then the group consciousness around us, wherever that is, the consciousness of society, the consciousness of the world. As we develop the faculty of power and responsibility, the practice for this is storytelling. Conscious storytelling. What happens when you see someone for the first time in a long time? You tell each other your stories, don't you? What happens the first time you meet someone and you're creating a relationship? You start telling each other your stories. And the spiritual practice here is to align our words with reality through our story, to become aware of when it is we're telling our story. Sing songs, perhaps, that empower our sense of purpose. Listen to them certainly. Speak peace. Speak truth. Speak authenticity. Or don't speak.
Yeah.
It's a good practice. Right speech is what is called in Buddhism. A very significant experience I've had with right speech is when I go to what my wife calls Buddha camp. It's Vipassana Buddhist meditation training. I've been 3 times. They're 10 days. And for 10 days, you don't talk. You don't eat meat, and you don't do a lot of other things. All you're doing is meditating. It just takes away all the distractions, especially the talking. And it's such a challenge the first couple of days. And then toward the end, you're kind of not wanting that day when you're going to be able to talk. You're not in any rush for it.
Yeah.
Because the silence, the no speaking, gives us a stronger handle on our creative power. The speaking is our creative power's expression as we align ourselves with it. But the silence is where we create consciousness around this faculty. Let's take a moment for meditation.